Oscar Romero, everybody, is it him?
Like, I wish my mother would have had a videotape of, her trying to talk to me and say the things that she couldn't because I was in a different country.
Yeah, no, I understand.
But a lot of people don't think that way, though. Right?
No.
But I always feel that you should celebrate life and you should always celebrate death because it's a circle.
Yeah, it is a circle of life, yeah.
And you can't just be all sad and melancholic about it because it will happen to everybody.
Well, that was one thing with my dad when he passed.
Yeah.
Up in Cross Lake, I was so used to everybody crying, and it was a big 3-day affair where everybody they bring the body into the house and they sing and everybody's crying for like 3 days, and then my uncles came from Ireland and they partied for like 3 and they were celebrating his life, right?
Absolutely.
They weren't crying. It was like a party, and everybody was looking at them kind of weird, like, well, who are these Irish guys coming and you're drinking and having fun? Like, why aren't they crying and sad? But their feeling was they celebrated.
Exactly.
They celebrated his life and
that's the way I see it. I mean, unless it's a terrible death.
Yes.
Somebody kills somebody. I mean, of course that's sad because it was the wrong time to go.
Right.
But I mean, if it's a normal circle, I think you should celebrate it.
Yes, of course.
And I think the people who is passing be actually happy that you guys
had that time.
And honor to them.
Oh, I 100% agree.
Yeah, but I think a lot of in these situations, religion gets involved too, and that's probably, they dictate the things that we're supposed to do.
Yeah.
And if you deviate from that, then they start criticizing because you're not doing it the right way. So.
Yes.
So that's crazy, man. That's why I don't believe in religion. I stay away from it.
Oh, yeah. Half our family's pretty religious.
Yeah.
So we have a lot of fights.
My family is 100% Catholic.
Oh.
And I believe that Catholicism is the worst thing that could have happened to my people.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. They keep them ignorant. It gives them hope that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And it's not completely relative to what actually things that are happening.
Yeah.
Or another way to put it, they're not realistic.
Right.
Because we live in a world that is so different to what the religion expects us to live like,
right. Yeah.
And the world is not like that. The world is beautiful, but it's a hard place to live.
It is,
because not everybody thinks the same way. It doesn't mean that the good things that they learn in religion are bad. It's just, I think that you have to make your own decisions and your thinking. Know that there is a higher power, but do not associate it with religion only.
Right.
You can have a higher power without being in religion.
Yes.
And I think it's more liberating, and it's more like it teaches you to live a life of good things, not hurting anybody, but just being kind.
Right. And
you don't need a religion to do that.
Yes.
You can just have a knowledge or believe that there's a higher power, and those are things that I learned in other situations that I was.
Yes.
That to have somebody to believe in, you don't need religion.
Right.
And those are the things that also liberated myself from the way I used to think.
Right.
Because I always thought that whenever I did something, and my religion would not be tolerated.
Yes.
But I'm a human person, and I know that I cannot live under those rules.
Right, yeah.
So we are a bunch of hypocrites.
Yes.
We pretending to be religious, but we get out of the shirts and then we do the total opposite. But on Sunday we are like, Sunday, oh my God, you might be hangover, but hey.
That is so true. Yeah.
So it's,
Forgive me, Father, for I have sinned for 7 days or 6 days when I was gone.
That's right. That's right.
So you have a pretty good view on life and your situation. So like where were you born? And just because I was telling you earlier, like I hear I meet many amazing people, and they have so many interesting stories, and you're one of them, right? Like, do you mind talking about where you came and
not at all.
And your journey from there to Canada?
I was born in El Salvador. That's in Central America.
Right.
Contrary to most people in North America think that if you're a Latin American person, you're Mexican. I was born in El Salvador. El Salvador is in Central America, close to bordering Guatemala and Honduras.
Okay,
and I think we also bordered Nicaragua and in a very little stretch of the country.
Yes, yeah.
And I grew up there. I came to Canada.
A big family you had there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm the youngest of 10 kids.
Oh, wow. You're a Catholic?
That's Catholicism to you there.
Irish Catholic, we got 8.
And I'm not counting one that died 3 days after she was born. She was stillborn, so that would have been 11 of us.
Wow, yeah.
But I'm the youngest of 10 kids. I'm the only one with a different father. My mother, after so many years of abuse from her husband, finally left her and found my dad, who wasn't any better.
Yeah.
He was never in my life, so I grew up basically with my mom and my sisters and brothers, and I have sisters that are so old that they can be literally my mothers too.
Oh wow, big
because
difference.
They're different in age.
Yes.
But very poor family, extremely poor family. My mother didn't have much. They had absolutely nothing. So.
Like what city? What part of?
Well, there's a city called the city that I was born was San Salvador, but for some reason my papers say that I was born a city just south of San Salvador, which is the capital, which is called Apopa. But according to my mother, I was born in San Salvador, which is the capital city.
Wow.
And there was not much for us. We live in a little room. We never own a house. We just rent, and we live in a small room. I would say maybe smaller than this bedroom.
11 of you guys lived.
Well, my oldest sister had already left, and so there was like 6 of us living in this little room, and I remember that we only had one bed, and table chairs and that was it. Wow. But at nighttime, everything turned into a bed. The table turned into a bed. The little sofa turned into a bed. Under the bed, it turned into a bed. So we all had our own spaces that we slept. And in the morning, you can get it all together to make it look like a one bedroom.
Wow.
So it was really funny because I remember one brother was sleeping over the table, the other one sleep underneath the table, one sleep underneath the bed. It was a hard living, but we didn't know any different. I mean, me being the youngest, I didn't know the difference.
Yeah.
So it was a normal thing, and a lot of mystery, and it reminded me of that movie. Angela's Ashes, where the mother lived with an alcoholic, and she had to prostitute herself in order to support her kids. But as kids, we just live in the environment. We didn't know any different, and it was hard. I mean, I remember I never had any toys, but the toys that I had, I will make, or I have marbles, and we play marbles, and whoever won the game got more marbles, and that's how we played. Or wow. we play soccer in the street. That wasn't even paved; it was just like pebbles. Like you used to, you used to fucking hurt yourself so bad, but you didn't care, because you didn't have proper shoes or nothing. So it was a very miserable life, but that was what I was dealt, so I didn't see any different. However, as I got older, my mother couldn't keep me there anymore, and she put me in a boarding school for runaway kids.
Yeah.
In my case, I wasn't runaway. I wanted to be somebody. I wanted to be some belong to some place that I didn't had nowhere to run.
Yeah.
But my mother was working. She was working at the police station as a maid.
Yeah.
And she got some connection there and was able to get me into the school as a student.
Wow.
And most of my brothers went there too.
Yeah.
So it was a military type of school. I mean,
Yeah.
you live there.
Yeah.
You have sleeping quarters. You had to wear a green uniform. It was like you had to call the superior sergeant and shit.
Yeah, yeah.
You had to march to put the flag up. And they would wake us up at 4 a.m. to exercise, and they will beat you up if you didn't do the shit. Like we had everything was controlled, but the goal was to. It was like a cadet school to get you to go into the army. That was the goal.
Yeah, that was the goal.
But for me, I mean, my mother put me there, and I said, okay. I never said no, nothing. I didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
And all my brothers went there, and I remember my brother says to me, like, they were older than me.
Yeah.
And there we all went to the same place, and as they were. It was up to grade 12, so as they were exiting out, they got more senior, they were more respected.
Yes,
but as you came in, there was bullying and shit. And I was the youngest, and I remember I told my brothers, I said, listen, man, this guy wants to kick my ass, and I haven't done anything. And my brother goes to me, he said, brother, you're on your own. If I step up and help you, you're going to be considered a fucking, crying baby, and you're gonna get bullied even more.
No, yeah.
So he said, just take the beating.
Your brother said that.
And I remember my first day of school. We lining up to go for supper because you have to line up for breakfast, line up for lunch, and line up for. And then there's a guy comes in and sends another guy and steps in front of me.
Yeah.
Just to push me out of the line. I said, hey, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
I said, hey. Move out of the way. You have to. And I said, no, I'm not moving. He said, okay, then you have to fight that asshole back there.
No.
And that was it. Because I didn't do what they told me to do, I had to fight the big bully. And I remember when you were flying IFR and you never flown before.
Yeah.
I remember I was eating because I knew I was gonna get my ass kicked after. I go, oh, fuck. And they had a place where they do the fighting. They did it behind the dormitory, which was a massive building, just like the size of the hotel. Yeah. So in the back, that were the fighting quarters. And I remember it fucking dying.
Before you even got to the
fight, because I had to confront this guy, because he was the bully of the level that I was. There were 3 companies, grade 10 to 12 was the first company, grade 9 to 6 the second company, and then the third company was grade 5 to grade 3. Because you have to be in grade 3, the minimum, to be accepted.
Right.
So I was in grade 5. Yeah. And I remember crying, fuck, I'm gonna get my ass kicked. And everybody said, hey, they're waiting for you. And sure enough, I'm walking, I'm taking my time there. And I get behind the sleeping quarters, and there is like 300 fucking kids waiting for us to fight. And oh my God, I said, this is not like Gladiator. I wish it was a fucking lion that came out and fucking took me out of there. But no, it's like walk of shame, like before I actually fought. So I remember this guy is a little bigger than I am. I was very short. Still on. So anyways, he said, okay, man, they're going to kick your ass because obviously you didn't do what I told that guy to do it.
Yeah.
You say you didn't want to do it, so you're gonna have to fight me. And I said, well, I don't want to fight you. I said, well, then I'm gonna kick your ass. So I remember, I go like this. And all I see is like he fucking nailed me so hard, and I see stars. And I in my mind, I said, I hope this is it. So, but he doesn't. He doesn't. He keeps punching me, and all I can do is I just grabbed him. Grab him by the, he's dragging me out and punching me in the face and dragging me out. So, but we were in the sidewalk of the building, and then there's a drop off, and he fell. So because I was dragging behind him, I fell on top of him. And then he landed on a nest of ants.
Yes.
And no, these ants are fucking like biters. They will eat you alive.
Right.
So I'm just taking the beating, not letting go. I'm not doing anything. I'm just holding the guy. I'm just holding for my life. I don't know why I was holding. Maybe run away. Just taking the pounding and just. But all of a sudden, I stopped hitting me. And start screaming, fuck yeah. He doesn't have a shirt on, so he's completely full of ants, and they eating him alive. Oh. And I'm fucking you won't let him go. So stunned on the punches he gave me. I didn't feel shit. I'm just hanging, and he just starts screaming, "Let me go, let me go!" And I say, "Well, fuck it. Yeah. What am I doing?" So I didn't throw a punch. I didn't fucking do anything. But I landed on top of him. He started crying because he was getting beaten by the ants. So eventually they took me off him. Like, take him off him. Like,
get that tiger off of him.
So all of a sudden, the eyes of everybody, I'm the one who won.
Yeah.
Because he gave up.
Yeah.
So from that moment on, nobody fucked around with me. Nobody for the entire year. I was the shit. And I will tease him. I said, "Hey, you're fucking pussy." Thinking to myself, like fucking ass, save my ass. But that's what it took. From that moment on, nobody fucked me. Man. But I wasn't a bad bully, right? I wasn't an asshole.
Yeah.
So everybody liked me.
Yeah.
Besides, I didn't want to fight anybody. But that was the story. The first day that I arrived at the boarding school, and from that moment on, my life was easier. I didn't
at the boarding school.
At the boarding school, and I spent 5 years there. Yeah, I believe it's 4.5 or 5 years. And when I came out of there, I was so independent. I never needed a place because I had made friends that I used to go and stay with, and I started living out on the streets, basically living off anything.
Yeah. So you graduated from there?
I went up to grade 9.
Oh, grade 9 there. Okay.
And then I went to a public school for grade 10, 11, 12.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
But I was independent. I never went home. I mean, I didn't have a home. So I used to alternate. I stay with one sister one day, another sister, and then one of my brothers who was single, and he passed away just recently, Fito.
Oh, sorry.
He said to me, "You know what? I'm going to university," and with his student loans, he said, "I'm gonna get a place and I have a job working at a nursery home."
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what it was. And he said, "You can live with me." So I lived with my brother for the last 2 years remaining of me in El Salvador. And I went to school, and I never asked for anything. I basically was totally independent. I used to be quite a hustler. I will sell and deal anything. Anything.
Anything?
But I had to do what I had to do. But that's how I survived. We sell potatoes, sacks of potatoes that we mistake from some places. Sugar. My buddy used to have his parents used to have a bread making factory. So we used to he used to take flour, and we go in other places and sell it. We did everything. We deal with booze and stuff. And
was crime big there? Like, why didn't
it was crime was always big there, but we were low time
and
hustlers.
Why didn't you get influenced by them? Like, what kept you away from going that direction? Like, instead of going small time hustler, like a big time.
Well, it's just that the situation was getting really bad, and politically, and there was a lot of political unrest, and you either if you got involved with them, you were certainly more likely to die, and that's what ended up happening at the end. Why I left, because it got really bad. Like, I couldn't be outside the government over literally took over. It was a military government,
right,
and not a democratic government. And they put a martial law, and they basically, if you were out at this time of the time and the night, and you didn't have a good excuse, you literally disappear. They will kill you. So my mother got really scared, and you start seeing a lot of unfair things going on, and towards the poor people, and the government shutting down public schools so the poor people couldn't educate themselves, so they don't revolt against them.
Right.
They closed the university. My brothers, I got 3 brothers who had lots of potential, but they were never able to go the university because they couldn't afford private university.
Right.
Only the public university, and the government closed it so that they didn't have anybody revolting against them.
Right.
And that's when the situation got really bad, that the civil war was most intense. Lots of people died in El Salvador. More than 100,000 people died in a civil war. Wow. And my mother was afraid. Like, I was a hustler, and she said, you're gonna be caught doing something or saying something against the government, and they're gonna kill you. So you gotta get out of here. And I was involved in not directly in the revolutionary movement. Like, I never took arms, but I was. I did a lot of graffiti, free the war, free the country, free the students, assholes or shit, like just criticizing the government and stuff like that.
So if you would have got caught doing that, you would have been killed.
I would have been killed.
Wow.
And the school I was going, it was a national institute. I was learning how to be a mechanic. It was a trade school, like Ted Box here in Winnipeg. The police came, and they came and grabbed a bunch of guys from my class, and the guys disappeared. We never saw them again. So it was you could be killed just by somebody saying, "Hey, I saw that kid saying something against the government. I saw that kid involved," and they will kill you.
Yeah.
And the government had literally they have a license to kill, and they will say even if the person was innocent, they will say that they were revolutionary, and they were fighting against us, so we didn't have choice. We had to kill them. And these guys were just innocent kids or students that they just were at the wrong place, the wrong time. And a lot of people died that way. So I was caught one time, and it's because, being outside too late and missed the curfew, and they pulled me over. And I remember they were taking us in. But one of the guys who was a soldier now went to that school, that boarding school, the military boarding school.
Oh, so he knew you.
And he recognized me. And because of him, I think that saved my life. Because the guy said, I remember his nickname. I didn't even remember his name. And he hated his fucking nickname. But that's all. But that's all I remember. His nickname was Stain.
Stain?
So, and he said, "Do you know this guy?" And he said, "Yeah, I do." Wow. Okay. And he said, "Okay, he can go." But they already put me in the truck, and I would have disappeared.
How old were you?
I was 16. Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Is that when you thought, okay, it's time to get?
And that's when my mother said, you gotta go. You're gonna get killed. And sure enough, I would have. A couple of my friends got killed that I hang out with.
Yeah.
So
what a difference from growing up here, like the freedoms we have and the safety we have, as compared to hearing something like where you have to grow up and you're just for spray painting something you could be killed.
And the thing that you also get used to living with every day are so terrific for any child to see. And never mind if you actually were to see some kid in this country go through that, they will be traumatized forever.
Yeah.
Because I used to see hundreds of people killed in the street by the police. Hundreds.
You saw the dead bodies.
Yeah, dead bodies. You walk in and there's a dead body, and people would just walk like there was nothing abnormal.
Yeah.
And they all will be. There was never a person who was. I'm sorry, we killed this guy by accident. No, it was a terrorist. It was a revolutionary. He attacked us, so we had to kill them. And not to mention people who disappeared, who never were found. Like they used to just, made them dig their own grave and then would shot them in the head. Atrocities, man. Atrocities. Wow. Yeah. So it was really bad. And then besides me getting in all the kinds of trouble with girls and stuff like that.
Of course. Yeah. You're a suave ladies man.
I don't think I was, but I'm sure there was one that I probably was already concerned that I was going to be an early daddy.
Yeah.
So my mother said, "You gotta leave," and I said, I remember I said, "Mom, but where we're gonna go?" And she said, "Well, you gotta go north." And I said, "Well, I suppose you mean the U.S.?" And she said, "Yeah." And
really?
I have a sister in L.A. She was here at the time.
So how old were you when this was 16, you said?
I was 17.
17 when you're heading, okay.
Yeah. And she said, your sister lives in Los Angeles, and you can go there.
Yeah.
But my mother didn't have any notion of distance.
Yeah.
Like she doesn't know. She doesn't know how far is L.A. from El Salvador. You had to cross 2 countries.
Mexico's huge.
Mexico is huge. So I remember. I had a. She gave me. I think my brother got a couple of my other brothers and sisters to collect some money, and I came out with $150. And they said, okay, that's all you have.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking that I'm going legally. I just walking without any papers. Like no visa, no plane fare, no nothing.
No.
I just start
walking. Really?
Yeah. And I remember my mother took me to the nearest border, which is Guatemala.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that was it. Another friend that was in trouble too decided to come along with me, Caesar, and he came with me. And I remember my mother dropping us off at the bus station in Guatemala to go to the Guatemala-Mexican border, which is another 300, 400 kilometers. And I remember her face. I never forget that. The sadness I saw in my mom, it was unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because she, now that I'm a father, I see that.
Yeah.
When I was there at the time, I saw sadness, but I felt like this is not a big deal for me. I've been on my own since like I was 13, you know. So it wasn't a big deal, but the anguish I saw in my mother's face was so terrifying to me now, and so sad, because here this woman is sending her youngest child into the unknown, because he has a few bucks in his pocket, but he doesn't have any connections. He doesn't. He's going illegally. He doesn't have nothing. Just the clothes behind on my back. But I remember I say to me it was a relief leaving her behind, because I didn't want her to see the suffering. But now as an adult, as a father, I see that my poor mom. I mean, I can't imagine sending my 15-year-old kid to Handsome, never mind, like by himself.
To Costco.
To Costco. But to me, at the time, I didn't think it was a big deal. I thought this is something that I do all the time. I mean, many times my family for months don't know where I am or what I'm doing. So I remember getting to the Mexican border, and we had to cross the Mexican border illegally. And then we picked up another guy who actually lives here, Carlos, who we grew up with in El Salvador. And I told him, hey, I'm going north, and he was working in a bread making store, and he just got fired that day. So I remember he said, yeah, man, I'm going with you, but I don't have any money. And I said, well, I only have $100. You know? He said, okay, well, that's all we have. We'll manage with that. And I remember his mother, who was from Guatemala. He's from El Salvador, but his mother was from Guatemala. And his mother would stay at her place, and another small little place with two sisters. And I remember she was pissed off at me because I'm taking away her son, her oldest son. And I mean, this guy, I guess he was helping with the family. But up to that point, because he lost his job. So the mother wasn't very happy with me. And I remember the next day he said, hey, I'm gone with you, man. I know I don't have nothing here. I can't help my family. I just lost my job. So it's perfect timing.
Wow.
So I remember I given $25 or 50. It was 25 or $50 of my 100 to save them. He said, just hide them somewhere in case we get caught. You know, they steal my money, but they don't steal yours. Or you know. So it was 3 of us. And remember, we sat along the shore of the river there, and we crossed, and we start walking through, through the side of the road. We swim across. We walk, and sure enough, we walked for about 40 kilometers, I think, days of walking, and then we grab a bus, but we were walking through the fields, so it looked like completely full of soil. Like dirt.
No shower for days.
No shower. So the bus driver, he knew who we were, and he just stopped at the police station. So they just came out and grabbed us directly. I was like, what an asshole. I said, we just walked 40 fucking clicks. So the immigration take us in, and sure enough, they stole our money, But they didn't find his money that he put. His runners had a little zipper, and he put it there. So the idiots didn't see that. So they threw us back. So now we only had $25.
And you're back in Mexico?
Back in Guatemala.
I'm back. Oh, you had to go back to Guatemala.
They threw us back because we were trying to cross the border from Guatemala to Mexico, which was the next country.
Okay, yes. You're still in Guatemala. Okay.
So
you haven't reached the U.S. border yet?
No. We have weeks and weeks for that. So I remember we sat at the shore. Now it's 3 of us, Cesar, Carlos, and I. And we had $25. That's all we have.
Oh my God.
So, and we sat along the shore, and we see all the changes of the guards at the border. Because they had lights, where they can see you. Even though you crossing the river, you want to stay close to the area where the crossing is, because you don't know how fucking deep it might be and somewhere else, or how the current might be. This part we knew exactly how far we could swim, because it was a little less of a swim. So we put our bags and clothes in a plastic bag and start swimming across it. And then we walk, and this time we didn't grab a bus. So we just fucking walk to the nearest town.
Wow.
And then I don't remember how it happened, but I met a person who I asked him for like food or something. And I told him that we were going north. And this guy said to me, there's a guy who's a dispatcher for a trucking company. I think he's from El Salvador. And I know him, but nobody knows he's from El Salvador, because if they find out he's from El Salvador, he will lose the job because he's not Mexican. So here's the address, and if you can find him, just tell him I send you. And sure enough, I found this guy, and I say, hey, we need this is me, and whatever. And he was very taken back. So what the fuck? How do you know this?
Yeah.
How do you know me?
Yeah.
And I say, hey, no big deal. No, I don't mean to cause any trouble. It's just I need help. Getting a ride to the city.
Yeah.
The city from the Mexico City from the Guatemalan border, I will say is about I think over more than 24 hours of driving.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long ride.
So he gave you a ride. He was able to.
No. He was a dispatcher for a trucking company.
Okay.
So he, but they say the problem is 3 of you.
Yeah.
And if you're willing to split, I'm sure I can find out something. Although he said I'm gonna try. If truck driver wanna give you a ride, the 3 of you.
Yeah.
And I say, you know what? If that is the case, that's fine. But we prefer to stay together.
Yeah.
But if it's not possible, then whatever you can do.
Yeah.
So I remember he kept us on a empty parking lot, and we stayed there for a week, just living in this parking lot. It was all bushy and a lot of fire. And he will bring us some food, or we just walk on the street sometimes and find something to eat. And
wow.
And after a week, he came and said, "Hey, I found a guy who can give you a ride, the 3 of you."
Yeah.
And I said, "Oh fuck, that's awesome." His name, I think his name was Juan.
Yeah.
The trailer, the driver.
Yeah.
The truck driver. And the guy gave us a ride, but he gave us a ride in the back.
Oh, in the back of the truck.
And it's like a 48-foot trailer,
yeah.
And it's full of fruit up to the ceiling. This much clearance from the ceiling to the boxes.
Yeah.
And he said, okay, we're gonna go through about 5 checks, police checks, and then after that, I think you're okay. But until then, you have to be here. And we literally were at the mercy of this man, because this was a refrigerated truck. Because to keep the fruit, and we're freezing our asses there, man. And with this much clearance, and I remember, and we couldn't see not even our hands. Like it's so dark there.
Yeah.
And I remember we spent about 6 hours in there.
Wow.
And I mean, if this guy would have been a bad person, he could have left us there. We would have froze to death. Yeah. So and
that was preparing you for Canada then.
Never mind. I didn't even know it was going to be Winnipeg. But anyways. So
that's
that was a good preparation.
Yeah.
What are these Canadians talking about? Hey, I spent 6 hours in a fucking fruit truck.
Wow, that's amazing, man.
But after 6 hours, I think it was 6 or maybe more. But I remember that I fell asleep, woke up, and then I see a light that the door's opening, and we are right at the end of the trailer. So nobody could see us. And he said, "Hey, we went through all that, so you could come out." So we just started. This guy, 3 of us. If we would have been bad people, we'd have mocked this guy, and but this guy totally had faith that he was doing the right thing, and that we were going to fuck him. And sure enough, we never asked for nothing. He will give us, something to eat. He wanted, but we never asked anything. Wow. And we fill up the trunk.
Yeah.
Clean up the mirrors. And just pretend to do something useful. Kicking the tires. Doing the walk around.
Proving your worth.
So I remember that when we got to Mexico City, he said, "Hey, this is as far as I'm going."
Yeah.
And I said to him, "Okay, thank you very much, John." His name Juan, when you translate to John. I said, "Thank you, John, appreciate it."
Yeah.
And he said, "You guys have any money?" He said, "No." So he gave us 3,000 pesos, which was the equivalent of maybe $30.
Wow.
After all the favor, eh?
That's amazing. Yeah. Those. So,
and he drops in the street. I remember Mexico City is about 3 a.m.
Yeah.
Just walk in the street, and 3 guys walking that look like with like deers and headlights. Sure enough, the fucking cops pull us over. No. And I give my buddy Cesar the money. I say and actually I give each one got 1,000 pesos, which is $10.
Yeah.
And I say, and I said, you see the flashlights coming? And I said to Carlos and I said to Cesar, hey, when we get to the corner, you just run as fast as you can and fucking hide somewhere.
Yeah.
And this Caesar, being cool, he said, no, I don't run away. No. Sure enough, they don't catch us, they catch him.
No.
But he start crying, fuck. So we kind of give in and said, hey, fuck, what do we do? So they let him go, but they took the money away.
You had to pay 1,000 pesos.
1,000 pesos.
Wow.
So now here with less than $20 now, I think I don't remember if I actually given all the money or just half portion.
Yeah,
but I remember we didn't have much money.
Yeah.
So from there, I remember that I talked to some vendors in the street, and my mother always said to me, if you ever have problems, go to a church.
Yeah.
And somebody might help you there.
Yeah.
So I talked to the vendors in the street, and I said, how do I get to the cathedral?
Yeah.
Because it's a big thing in Mexico City. And they told me the subway I had to take. And subways were really cheap in Mexico. At the time, I think it was like less than 25 cents.
Right.
So we could take it. So I remember we arrived in the cathedral, and we sat in there all day.
Yeah.
And then I went to confession because I needed to speak to somebody.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember I saying this father Jesus, Jesus was Jesus. Padre Jesus.
Padre Jesus. You spoke directly to Jesus in Mexico.
I talking directly to Jesus here. So I said to him, I said, we are immigrants and we're undocumented and we don't have nowhere to go. And is there any way you can give us a hand?
Yeah.
And he said, yeah, just wait till all the sermon or whatever, the mass, whatever they call it.
Yeah.
The service is done. And after that, I talked to him and we talked to him. And I had a place for, I guess it was travel kids or whatever.
Yeah.
So he had a house, and he said, "You can guys stay here for a bit and until, you find what to do."
Yeah.
And
Wow.
that was it. He got us a little place to live for a couple of weeks, and then from there we went to the United Nations
in Mexico City.
In Mexico City.
Okay. Yeah.
And we got a political asylum.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, we have political asylum so that the Mexican authorities cannot deport us.
Yeah.
But because we entered the country illegal, they say you can't stay here.
Right.
They cannot deport you, but you cannot stay here because you enter illegal, and that's the law. So what we can do is say we can write you a letter.
Yeah.
And you can take it to. There are a few countries that are accepting political refugees from your country.
Right.
And you just tell them your story, and they will decide to accept you or not.
Oh, okay.
And I remember Carlos and I went to the embassy. My buddy Caesar, he said, "No, man, I'm going to my sister." He had a sister in the U.S.
Yeah.
And he said, "I'm just going to continue going
on
my own." And I said, "No, we want to do this
get legal,
get the support that we need, And we went to the embassy in Mexico City. The Canadian embassy.
So that's one of the countries that was accepting at the time?
One of the countries that was accepting at the time.
So why did you choose Canada?
Because it was the same continent.
Okay.
I stay like the other options was Australia and I think Hungary.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
But I wanted to stay here.
Yeah.
And so did my mom, of course. All along this time, I haven't communicated with my mom for months and months.
Nobody knows where you are.
Nobody knows where I am. Yeah. I spent literally, I think, close to a year in Mexico.
Wow. Did you want more coffee?
No, I'm okay right now.
Okay.
Thank you very much. Very good stuff.
Oh,
Colombian
coffee.
That's not bad. So, anyways, we went to the embassy, and Carlos got accepted because he was involved in the revolutionary movement. He actually fought, and he went to jail for they caught him during an operation, and the Red Cross saved his ass, because if the Red Cross would have been there, they would have killed him.
Yeah.
So they put him in jail for 2 years.
Wow.
And then that's when he went to Guatemala to live with his mom. In my case, I was never captured, and I was never directly involved.
Right.
I was more like a outspoken of the corruption of the government and the human rights and graffiti and anything to speak out. Yeah. But I never got involved in the movement as a fighter. Because I was too young. So but I got political asylum.
To Canada.
Canada. And,
so where did they send you? Where was your first?
Well, I didn't know. Like they did at the time. I guess the way they did it is that they would put new immigrants in provinces that had least population.
Right, yeah.
And Manitoba, Saskatchewan were one of the ones who had least population, of course.
Yeah.
Because I remember they said, "Where you want to go?" I said, "I don't know."
Yeah.
I never thought.
Somewhere hot.
Somewhere hot and exciting. Where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. So I remember Carlos came a week before, 2 weeks, a week or 2 weeks before I did. Yeah. And I came a week after. And we landed in Toronto, and then we overnight there, and then we flew here.
So you landed overnight Toronto, and you flew to Winnipeg.
Yes. But everything, I had there was a person waiting at the airport with my name on it, and I didn't speak a word in English, and that was another thing that to me was very hard to comprehend. Yeah. Like, how can 3 or 4 hours prior everybody spoke the same language I was speaking, but here nobody did. Yeah. It was very hard. It's a big culture shock.
I can imagine. Yeah.
Like,
oh my God.
Like I'm talking to people, like if they can understand me, like how are you, and somebody say hi. What the fuck does hi mean?
Yeah, what does hi mean?
I thought it was insulting me or something, you know. Like in school, they told me hello means hello, like hi. Like, what the fuck, fancy boy? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? Don't hi me, man. So it was a big culture shock. I remember standing up like an asshole, and not to know what to say when this person say hi to me. What the fuck is he saying? So that was my immediate experience landing in Toronto. And I remember they put me in a hotel by the airport, and the next day they came and picked me up and put me another flight, a late flight to Winnipeg. And
what time of year was that when you like?
That was on August 1985.
Okay. So it's still not too.
It was warm. It was. I believe it was August. It's August or September. But to me, it's it was warm. Yeah. It wasn't that.
Wasn't that bad.
It wasn't that bad at all. I remember that. I remember that. That's how I got here. But the rest is another story. Like, remember they put me at the Balmoral Hotel there, right? And I thought to myself, man, this place is classy.
I'm in a 5-star hotel.
I remember, like I had like not even $10 in my pocket. Like it was brutal. But I know there was a bar downstairs, so I'm legal. I just turned 18 years old, so I go downstairs, and my first encounter, some guy asked me for rolling papers. Yeah, and here they sell rolling papers. In my country, you have to make them. Oh. And the best rolling papers were the ones that made out of the Bible pages, because the paper was kind of fine. Yeah. So I said to the guy, "Okay, just wait." So I go upstairs and read the Bible. And then I could build it and get them in two and make, that soft part. Oh, no. And he goes, I said, "What the fuck?" And he walks away. And I said, "What a fucking prick. I'm fucking throwing my Bible for this asshole." And he's, the things that I get. That was my first experience. And then I remember that, they used to sell beer by the draft, illegal draft. Yeah. But I didn't know how to say draft. Yeah. So I'm sitting beside, there's always old timers, that veterans or whatever that drink all day and just sit there and that's all they drink. So I remember this old man sitting there and drinking draft. They were two for 50 cents.
Yeah,
I think it was 2 for 50 or 2 for $1.
Yeah.
Can't remember, but it was cheap, something that I definitely could afford.
Yeah.
But I could not say it.
Yeah.
So I'm listening, and the old man can hardly hear him, eh?
Yeah.
And I don't speak a word in English.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for my buddy Carlos, who's been here for a week and a half. Eh?
Who knows it all?
Who knows it all? But I remember I hear the old man say to draft.
Yeah.
And to me, it sounded like grass. Eh? So I said to the waitress, to grass.
To grass.
And she looked at me, what? To grass. 1, 2. And she said, well, what are you talking about? So I know she's not getting it.
Yeah.
And she's saying all these comments that I don't understand either.
Yeah.
So I said, okay. So I pointed to the old man and said, oh, you mean draft? I said, well, yeah. That's right. And another thing that to me that was a big shock is what at the classy Balmora Hotel is that I remember, in Mexico we all look the same. We have dark skin and brown hair.
Yeah.
And I remember I'm sitting there at the Balmora. I said, "Fuck, the Canadians look exactly like us." It was full of Aboriginal people. They all look like us. And they speak English. They look like us and speak English. It was so funny. The only picture I ever saw of Canada were the ones with the Montes and on Lake Louise.
In BC.
The posters.
Yeah.
Oh man, that looks really cool.
Yeah.
And sitting at the 5-star hotel, man, they all look like us.
Your Aboriginal brothers from the north were staying with you at the Balmora.
That was my first experience. And and the funny thing is, I mean, they were all awesome people. Like some of them friends of mine up to today. That was the hangout. We used to drink and do whatever there. Yeah. My first experience was with a Canadian Aboriginal girl too. I said, hey, this is awesome. That was awesome. Great experience. So that was my experience coming to Canada briefly. Because it's a whole new fucking chapter about what happened from that moment on. But one thing that before I stop is I remember that I was really looking forward the snow. Like, I never seen snow before. And I said, fuck, I thought it's cool here, but I don't see snow, nothing.
Yeah.
It's fucking warm.
Yeah.
So, but they give us, as part of the package when we came in, they give us clothes and they give us winter gear, like cheap shit. But, and I remember that the first day in October, I think it was October 29 or something, starts snowing, and I remember putting everything on, the gloves,
your big jacket,
the big jacket, and I'm ready for it. I wanted to go out, and nobody's wearing a big heavy jacket, and I'm wearing everything, man. Even my orange boots that they gave me with a fucking ugly. Carlos and I, who fucking thought that he said, I speak English, man, no problem. And I believed him because I figured he'd been here 2 weeks, so he probably learned. He didn't speak nothing. But anyways, after when we experienced the snow the first time, I remember we were walking really proud on the snow. And we didn't have cameras at the time. But I vividly remember how excited we were to see snow.
Just to see the snow.
Yeah, it was such a nice thing.
Wow.
Now I kind of don't get too
excited anymore
about it, but that was a very incredible thing to see. And after that, life has started.
Did you have a lot of support when you got here? Like, did they help? The government help you out?
The government helped us out for about a year. They give us a place to live.
Right.
They give us an apartment. and through charity organizations
Yeah.
that will give us furnitures.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
you know, I remember having furniture from the 50s.
Yeah, yeah.
I had a TV that was black and white,
Yeah,
and only had 2 channels. But I mean, I was very happy because
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
I didn't have nothing else. So,
Yeah.
I mean, Jesus, they put you in a 5-star hotel. After that, they give you an apartment,
Yeah.
and they bring you furniture.
This is paradise.
This is paradise. And then they send me to school to learn English. After that, they basically say you're on your own. You know, just do something positive with your life. And
Wow.
but that was Canada for me. And to me, it was a great experience. I always appreciate it, and I was so happy coming to Canada. For me, it's like a kid being in a candy store.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I was young, and a lot of people say you were alone. Like, you come on, like they almost feel like sorry for me. I said, no, man, this was great.
Yeah.
That's what I could do anything. I could go anywhere. I could do whatever I wanted. I was an adult.
Yeah.
But people, when they see somebody at my age being alone for that long at such a young age, they think it's incredible. But to me, that was dealt for me, and I don't regret nothing. I love every minute of it, and I just embrace everything. Even coming to this country was the best thing that ever happened to me.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Well, how'd you get into aviation from there? Like, was it a quick transition from there to get your flight school?
No. I went to. I didn't speak any English, so I had to learn English. So we went to Elgin School, and all immigrants from all different countries were there, and we just learned English. You know, like, we couldn't say fuck all. The pronunciation was but you know, that was you know, we were in the tackest clothes we all wear in the tackest clothes you can think of, but we all think we look cool. You know, because they took us to a discount store and gave us clothes.
All the best clothes.
Everything first class. You know? So it was good. And then after that, I got my first job. Because I went to a vocational school. I learned, you know, auto mechanics. I knew how to do brakes. Small little jobs, like change oil, stuff like that. So they got me a job at a place called Minu Muffler. And I worked there, and then they said, you're on your own. And from that moment, I was on my own. And I went to do the high school again because to learn the language. So I went to auto lead.
Okay,
And I did grade 10, grade 11, grade 12.
Wow.
And then I had different jobs. I was a taxi driver. I got my class 1 license. I drove trucks for 7 years.
Wow.
Yeah. But I always wanted to fly. But flying, as you know, is very expensive.
Yeah, very expensive. Yeah.
So I will try to borrow money, and they didn't have a program back
at that
then.
time.
So they would say I will borrow money, and they say, well, the most we can give you is like $3,000 for the year.
Yeah.
And I said, no, but $3,000 that won't even last me a week. They said, well, we don't have that program. That's the best we can do. So through driving trucks, I will save money and then take flying lessons and borrow money and it took me a long time. Because I was paying for it.
Right.
So, and I didn't have any guidance. I wish I would have somebody who mentor me.
Yeah.
But none of my circle of friends were interested or knew anything about it.
Right.
So it took me a long time. I started flying in Steinbach for Harv's.
Mm-hmm.
He was in Steinbach before.
Right.
And I flew there up to my solo.
Yeah.
And then after I did my solo, I went to Gimli to Interlake Flying.
Right. Yeah.
I did my private commercial there, and
and
I did my my Mutli IFR, what is now Harv's, and before was the Winnipeg Flying Club.
Yeah.
And then I did my IFR in Perimeter.
Yeah.
But it took me years because I couldn't afford it. So, and that's the way it was. And thanks to a friend of mine, Joe Scordino. I don't know if you remember him.
I remember. Yeah.
He went to Thompson. He said, I have a job there, an interview.
Yeah.
and he got a job, and then he said, "Come up, man. Like you're not gonna find a job in the city there."
Yeah.
So I remember that's how I ended up going to Thompson, and that's another one. I remember coming to Thompson and at the Thompson Inn there. Because I was trying to take within budget. So I go in, I say, did you get a discount to pilots?
What did they say?
Sure we do. I remember another 5-star hotel, and I remember the big party going on downstairs and the fights and but sure enough, I ended in the party there. The same night I ended up partying with somebody there. With more Canadians that look like me.
All right, all my brother.
I was at home. Yeah.
Is that when you ended up in at Premier then? That's your first job then?
I didn't have a job. I worked for Skyward.
Oh, Skyward first.
Yeah, I work. I think that's how I met you, Tim.
Was that Skyward or
no? You were in a.
No, I was at Premier.
Okay, but before that, you were in a Skyward.
I was after.
Yeah. Okay, so I went to Skyward first.
Okay, yeah.
And I spent I remember I worked for 7 months there with the night shift with the mechanics.
Yeah.
And I met all the mechanics. Yeah. I remember that. That's when I started drinking at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Well, they all got off.
At the beginning, I said, man, these guys are fucking losers. They've been up all night, and the first thing they do is go and drink.
Yeah.
By the second night, I was doing it. And, I mean, those guys became very good friends of mine too, because I will go and hang out at their houses after the chief, and and drink with them. Be completely gone, by 10 o'clock.
Sleeping.
And after about 6 months, I had no job. I got a job with PIM.
Oh, okay, yeah, and that's when I met you.
That's how you met me.
When you came there, and how long ago was that? I'm not going to age ourselves, but
that was
over 20.
That was 2000.
2000, yeah, 20 years ago, man.
2000. I remember.
You look exactly the same.
I remember my first experience in Cross Lake.
Yeah.
We had a party in the trailer, and we had 3 girls, and they never left for 3 days. We would go to work, and they're still there. And we were afraid to kick them out because we were in a reserve. I said, fuck, man, you're going to lose your job if you kick them out. So I remember 3 days straight they were there.
They love their pilots.
You can't get enough of these Canadian people, I tell you. They were so good. They were so good to me.
Hearing your story, it was always so amazing, and I was like, man, this guy has been through a lot, and because you're always happy, you're always a happy guy, you're always positive, even no matter what, right? And then
absolutely.
And after hearing your story, for someone to be so positive and outgoing, and no matter, nothing bothered you, you always, your ups and downs, you always keep pushing forward.
Exactly,
and never complain and go,
Absolutely, and the reason why I see the word that way is because. The things that were in the past always was a little bit of improvement.
Yes.
It was never worse,
Right.
Even though I was thrown into the unknown, I was never, nothing was guaranteed. Yeah. But it was like an experience for me. It was like a new experience. And for some reason, even if things were bad, I always thought it's not as bad as it was, So it always keep motivating me to keep going.
Right. Yeah.
And the fact that when you had done everything alone and by yourself, you just feel so thankful for anybody that you meet that gives you a hand.
Yeah.
Because that's the only reason I think I've been able to somehow succeed. Not necessarily just because of my effort, but the people that I met along the way.
Yeah.
I always met the really good people, including yourself, including Rolly, including Keith, Jake. We always people who actually were really, really friends.
Yeah.
We're struggling, all struggling too, but we click. We enjoy the company, and we never had a bad time. Always was a good time.
Yeah.
So I always compare it to my life. I would say, well, you know what? It's a new experience, and it can never be as bad.
Right.
So if you see the word that way, you know, it's you learn to deal with situations, good and bad ones.
Yeah,
you know? And I'm being very fortunate. I think Canada has been the best thing that ever happened to me, and I'm sure my mother will agree to that. Because, she, even though she probably thought she would never see me again, and now she realized that it was a good decision for me to leave. Yeah, because I would have been dead for sure.
Were you able to go back a few times?
I went once.
Yeah.
No, I went twice, and I saw my mom. Twice I saw her, and then the third time that she was gone. The last time I went back to El Salvador was in 2008.
2008, yeah.
But my mother was already dead. So.
Yeah.
So it was. I needed to go just to experience being there for a little longer than most of the time. I only went for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
This time I stayed longer.
Yeah.
And believe it or not, that you don't fit in anymore. Because you have made your life here.
Right.
Now you're a stranger there. Even your own family doesn't look at you as part of the family.
Yeah, right.
Because they used to having you away.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Like I remember when I was staying there, I had my own apartment because I was working briefly there.
Yeah.
And like they saw me as a guest.
Right,
they never saw me as a brother or
yeah.
It was very different.
Right.
Because I had changed. I'm not the same person, and also my thinking is differently.
Yeah, right.
And they sometimes couldn't comprehend that.
Right.
So it was hard. So after about 8 months, I said, you know what am I doing here? Like my life is in Canada. My wife and kids are there.
Yeah.
Like, why am I trying to make something that doesn't exist anymore? So
wow.
So I'm happy to be back, but I needed to do it.
Right, to see.
Because you always, I think that with every immigrant, I think that's the problem, that some of them always live in the past and they feel that their country was better or that that the things that they left behind, they have to go back and it will be better for them.
Right.
But no, it's life moves on and people moves on. When you go back, if you don't have lots of money, for them to see that you actually have succeeded.
Yeah.
If you're just a regular person, they say, "What the fuck are you doing here?"
Yeah, right.
We're struggling here.
Yeah.
You had the opportunity to be there and do something with your life or get a job and without being oppressed and shit.
Yeah.
What are you doing here?
Yeah.
So, but a lot of immigrants live under that. Thinking that it's better in their country, but in many cases, at least in my case, it isn't. I've been away for too long, more than 30 years.
Yeah.
My own family does not relate to me anymore.
Yeah.
And it was a good way for me to realize that what I am is what this country has given me, and that includes my wife and kids. And, they're here, and they need me here, and I have to be here. So.
And there's home for you.
It's home for me.
Yeah.
It's home for me. So, but until I did that, I still thought, someday I'm gonna retire. I'm gonna go live there.
Yeah.
The fuck am I gonna become a target? I'm gonna have to get a bodyguard to watch me.
Yeah.
I remember I was in the Philippines one time, and I saw this American, and he was a Vietnam veteran, and he lives in a very poor little area where I was traveling at the time in the Philippines. And he had a bodyguard, and he was living on whatever the veterans get every month, I guess.
Oh yeah.
But in the Philippines, living in a village, that money will triple.
He'll live like a king. Yeah.
He was living like a king.
Yeah.
So I said, I started thinking. I said, well, I mean, this guy loves to be here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he doesn't feel safe because people don't see him as somebody from there.
Right. Yeah.
They see him as a foreigner. Yeah. As somebody they can get something from.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are in desperate need, so they were willing to do crazy things.
Anything.
And you become a target.
Yeah.
And that's what I learned when I went back to El Salvador. I realized, I mean,
you were a
I
target
will be
there.
a target.
Yeah.
My kids will be targets to, extortion or kidnapping and shit like that.
Right.
Just because I want to leave a past that it doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
But until you realize that, then you always live in two worlds. You know, you're thinking that someday you're gonna go back and live there like happily ever after. No, it doesn't happen that way.
Right.
But we all have to experience things in order to make the right assessment. Because people live in a world in which is so much fantasy on. Like you see it with tourists when they go, they go down to Mexico, and they just say, "Oh, this is beautiful,
all inclusive for 2 weeks."
Or I would love to live here.
Yeah.
And they get involved with guys or girls there, and I mean, all the power to them if it works. But 99% of the time, those people they need help.
Yeah.
And if you a channel to get that help, they will use you.
Yeah.
And because that's it's necessity. It's not that they intend to hurt anybody.
No, they're looking out for themselves.
They're looking out for themselves. So if people can do that, great. I know that I know how it is in reality, living in a Central American country, and I wouldn't want to put my kids through that.
Well, I remember I was flying. He's from Colombia.
Mm-hmm.
And I spent 6 weeks in Colombia, 6 or 8 weeks, I can't remember. And I was in like Medellin and Bogota, and we spent 4 or 5 days in Santa Marta in the north.
Oh, nice.
And then I was like, and I was flying with him. I'm saying, this is, Colombia is amazing and beautiful. He's like looking at me going, where the fuck were you? Where the hell were you come from? Are you serious?
Yeah.
And then you tell me like he grew up outside of Bogota, and he said like the poverty and the hardship of, like you said, 90% of the people are living, just making it to eat that day.
Mm-hmm.
And he said they have nothing.
I know.
Like they live in huts with dirt floors, and everybody has a cell phone, but
exactly. And that's exactly what it was
nothing.
in my country. Like we didn't have absolutely nothing. Nothing.
Yeah.
Like literally nothing.
Yeah.
Like I remember my mother scrambling to make I think it was like $20 rent in a fucking shithole.
Yeah.
And we don't have absolutely nothing.
Yeah. And it's still like that today in a lot of
places. In a lot of places, but this now because of the war, a lot of people left.
Right.
So these people are now able to help the people who were left behind.
Okay. Yeah.
But there are people still who don't have anybody in the outside.
Yeah.
And those people that are poor, they're still really poor.
Yeah.
And that was the case with ourselves. Like we didn't have any relative with economic means.
Right.
We were fucking dirt poor.
Yeah.
So life was very hard.
Yeah.
So as a kid you didn't know the difference, but as an adult you start saying, "Fuck, man, like that's a shitty life for a child."
Yeah.
I've never mind for an adult too. But
how do you feel about now? Like if with your kids, you like I know mine, like they're spoiled too, and then sometimes I just wish you could see.
Oh,
like go to the Philippines or to some of those areas and just live there for a month and see.
I tell you,
just because your cell phone ain't fast enough.
Oh yeah, they're extremely spoiled. Extremely, like I call them the assholes because they're fucking like they have everything. The only levers I have is their phone. I threaten to take them their phone. That's when they start behaving properly.
I had to do that with my kids too. That was the worst thing you can do.
That's the worst thing you can do. That's the only levers you have. After that, like they're just abuse you because they don't know. I mean, they and you cannot submit them to believe on that. You have to be a real asshole. Say, okay, you guys are coming with me to El Salvador and live in the fucking street for a week. You can't do that. But if they only knew, and you're hoping that. Through my conversations with them, they realized how tough it was. And when they grow older, they had the opportunity to be interested in how other people live in poverty in other countries, so they can realize how lucky they are. But you cannot force that. They eventually gonna. The only thing I can do is tell, hey, if you only knew how lucky you were. Dad, we know that. Back to being assholes again. You know, I think one of the things too is that after seeing all that much suffering, you don't want to give that to your kid.
Yes, yeah.
So you start overprotecting and over like sheltering more than you should.
Yeah.
And you think you're doing right, but you're actually doing more harm.
Yeah.
Because I'm not saying they should be free to do whatever they want,
Yeah.
especially now that they're underage.
Yeah.
But at the same time, they should be interested in finding out what the consequences are of you know, living on addiction or living in poverty or living on with, you know, a shitty wage or a shitty job, no education. They have to see that, because then they will realize how much it costs to support the way they live. But until then, I mean, they don't get it.
I remember, you know, when he came home one time and he was, I can tell he was high, right? And he was like 17. I'm like, oh my God. I said, like, what are you doing? You know, because I was a father, I had to be strict with him and say, hey, like, you can't, you know, you're going to ruin your life. And you know, if you hit that road, you follow the drugs, you're going to go, you know, you lead down to a bad situation. And he's looking at me and he goes, well, what about Bob Marley? What about Snoop Dogg? I was like, well, they're different. You know, like, but where I was going with that is, you know, I remember being that young too, right? And nobody could tell me anything.
Oh, exactly.
Know? And then you make the mistakes. You find yourself as you go. You know?
What you're saying is exactly true. Like,
but we all did that. You know, like they'll learn.
Absolutely, but it is rough because you think,
want the best for them.
You think that where did I go wrong? Like I told these assholes not to do that. Like house smells like fucking vanilla.
Vanilla ice cream. This is pineapple.
But he swear, no, Dad, I don't do it. I don't do it. They lie to their teeth, man. It's so funny, but you know, it comes to the point you say, okay, you know what? I know he's doing it. I know I don't want to start a fight. I don't want. So now you change to a different strategy. So, you know, you start telling it. Maybe you should slow down. You know, like. Now you know, saying don't do it because nothing you can do. So you tell them slow down. You know, you become an asshole if you do this shit.
Now all you can do is like pick them up really when they fall, that kind of thing, right? So it's like my mom picked me up. How many times I fell down just because of all the shit I used to do, right?
It's a learning experience because we never been in this situation. Never had kids before, so it's you living and learning. But it's rough because these are the people you care for the most, you know. So it's always hard because you think you're being protected and so much that they're not gonna do that. And you find out that the shit they're doing behind your back, they were ahead of you.
Like 3-4 steps ahead.
And they, you know, they only listen to rap music, you know, like and this and that and like come on, man, like. I'm not allowed to say it. Why? Because you're not black. I said, well, but you're saying it all the time. Yeah, Dad, but it's different. Okay. And I mean, like, especially my daughter, she's into politics, and she's a human rights activist. She's all about that. Like, oh my God, if I say anything that might seem derogatory to any race. Oh my God! Like it just goes on and on. But I'm dark, so she think that I know how's bad. Her mother, because she's white, she cannot like. My wife has to work in glass, walk in glass because she cannot say anything because she will jump all over. So I mean, at least their learning was right, but at the same time, I mean, they I don't know how they learn because I mean, the stuff they listen to, like it's bad, sweating and shit. But to them, it's just the music they like, you know, and they're related to other things, and they are pro rights, pro everything, you know.
Politically, we're in a political situation now where it's dangerous to say something, right? You have to be politically correct. Otherwise, you can't even, if your opinion. I think that's a lot of big problem in today's society is, we can talk about something. You could be a liberal, I could be a conservative, and we can disagree. So what? But we can still be friends. But now, you say something bad, you're like,
it gets
get
really
his
ugly.
job, get his, shame him.
Yeah,
And,
it gets really ugly, and it is because of the world that we live in.
Yeah.
You had leaders and not specifically in our country, but leaders in the United States. Who the main goal is to divide people between races, and there are people who are eager to exploit this.
To grab onto it. Yeah.
To grab onto it and to make it more
divided.
Yeah. And it's dangerous. Yeah. And the children are seeing that, and I tell you, man, like, you can't live in a world where you hate other people just because of the color of the skin or the way they look or how they dress. That's so incorrect.
Yes.
These countries are made of immigrants.
Yeah, good mixing bowl.
So I mean, I think at least in the United States, I observe more of this happening. People think that because they were born in the United States, the ancestry doesn't count.
Yeah.
So they discriminate against anybody who's different color because to them they were. They must have Aboriginal parents or something, but they're white because they don't think they have any descendants or they come from different countries. So they take this ownership of being the only ones entitled to be here.
Yeah.
Which is so stupid because the economy and a country will only develop to become a more profitable and more socially integrated the more we put into the mix, the more better results we will get because we become more educated society, more versatile, and more accepting of the fact that we are the same. Everybody that at least that come to Canada that I know of, in my case, we come for a better future,
right?
And this country allows gives you the opportunity to do that. Other countries don't do that, especially the countries where we come from, because you have authoritarian governments and you have corrupt governments, illegal elections, zero democracy. So people get in power there any way they can, and they start just taking care of themselves. So the poor is forgotten. Those are the hard places. That democracy doesn't exist. And people like me that fought to have a little bit of democracy, when you come to Canada, you said, this is what I'm looking for. I'm not asking for much. I want to be able to be a pilot if I want to, and I want to put the effort into it. I want to be able to have a nice car if I want to and I can afford it. Being able to buy and be who you want to be, that's democracy. But when society tells you that, no, you just poor shit, and we don't want you to get any higher because you make it difficult for us. If you get any more education or any higher, we want to keep you there. They want to separate. They kind of keep you in classes. The rich always rich, the poor always poor. Because that way you always have cheap labor. And those are the countries that we come from. And when you come here and you say, hey, I'm able to be whoever I want, and that is fantastic. And when you are somebody who's been seeking freedom, seeking democracy and human rights, and you come here and you said, this is what the world that I picture in my mind should be, having the opportunity to be who you want to be. I'm not saying give it to me for free. Just give me the opportunity to do it, so that I can say, hey, I put a little bit of effort, but I had the opportunity. And that is democracy. And in the countries and in third world countries, that doesn't exist because there's so much corruption, and the corruption is at the highest level. So it is systematically done that way so that everybody stay at the level they are. They don't want anybody, the poor, to educate, because then if you educate, then you have to pay them more because they know too much. So keep them ignorant so we can pay them shit. And the profits will always be good for us. And that's what the world we live in other countries, and third world countries.
I think it's good to hear kind of your perspective too, because it reminds all of us, how lucky we are. To have the freedoms and the opportunities that we have around, that we take for granted a lot of the time, right?
Absolutely.
And it's good to hear.
Absolutely. And you know what? And it is also, I always think that there's two different types of immigrants. The ones that just want to get out of where they are from, and they need an opportunity, and they just want to live in peace without worrying about his kids or their family being killed.
Yeah.
And there's the other one. There's the more that is looking for economic gratification.
Right.
And a lot of those people think they come here and they want to make their money and go back and leave, like big shots back there.
Yeah.
So it takes, I always believe that it takes 2 generations in order for them to realize, no, this was my intention at the beginning, but now I realize that's not what this opportunity was supposed to be all about.
Right. Yeah,
this opportunity was to be able to be who I want and live in this society and contribute to this society and try to help other people who are in need to escape or to live in a democratic country.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, in some cases, it takes up to 2 generations to realize that. But in my case, I was just so happy to be here. I was just so happy to have an opportunity to do what I want to do. You know, live like a normal kid. You know, go to a bar or go to a park or go to the zoo or have a girlfriend without being criticized for being poor or being don't have anything.
Yeah.
So it was great. It was great. So I'm so happy, and this is the best thing I could.
Oh, that's great to hear. You're
fly freight. I don't like flying passengers.
They complain too much.
Flying for me has never been a big shot thing. Walk through the airport with my uniform. Flying for me is like my ideal job will be wear shorts and sandals. And fly
jump in and go.
That will be ideal. But flying freight. It's great because we don't have to worry too much about the bumps and because we have boxes in the back, so they don't complain too much. Or dealing with the passenger flight attendants. Sometimes they don't get along with each other, so you have to deal with that. So it's the job becomes more stressful than it actually is. In my job, I just worry about flying. I mean, just flying the plane from an A to B as safe as we can do it, and that is fun. That is fun. It's flying beautiful aircraft. I love it.
Right on.
So it's great. It's great. Life is great. I do feel bad for the guys now that are laid off.
Our industry is brutal.
With the industry and the COVID, it's so sad to see. But I think every pilot at some point or other has been laid off or let go. Or
7-year cycle, man.
Everybody. Like for the first time in 20 years I've been doing this. The first time I said, my God, finally I made a good decision.
I'm not getting laid off. We're getting busier.
We're getting busier, But it's always been like, every 6-7 years, same thing happened. It's a very volatile industry. And for guys who want just fly planes like I do and you do, I mean, it's tough. We have put our families too much already with the way the industry is. So it is nice to say that I still have a job regardless of the situation that is going on. But I do hope that my fellow pilots that are laid off at this time the industry can turn around and they can get their job back, because you don't wish that on anybody.
No, and
I know what it's
globally too. Like it's,
and I know what it's not to to pay mortgage, to pay for your vehicles to school and like
kids and
man, it's
tuition,
brutal. I can imagine. Like it's tough. And you don't wish that on anybody.
It's hopefully. Hopefully they get a vaccine or something turns around, or get the economy going again.
I think it will. I mean,
it will get better.
It will get better.
It might get a little worse and then get better. But
and the scientific community are working on a vaccine because they have to. I mean, that's the resilience of being innovation. Human beings have always been able to get out when they put their head together to actually do something positive. Something will come out that is positive for everybody. But you have to follow the rules. Make sure you don't infect other people or put yourself at risk. by
you can do what
following the rules.
Yeah, all you can do is do what you can do, and whatever happens, right? So you got to do the best you can. And
absolutely, but I hope it turns around quick because it will. They say it will take a few years for things to come back to normal, but that all depend on a vaccine, and if the vaccine is found and it's made that affect the virus or eliminate the virus or eradicate the virus. That will be good.
Would you get a vaccine?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I would wait.
I'll
wait till you get it, and then I'll call you 5 months later. How you feeling? I grew a third arm, but I'm okay. I got no COVID.
Hey, it's a new experience. No worry about that at all. I think everything that is done in North America, the way they stage a vaccine is done in a way that is relatively safe for everybody. And I mean, there's always a risk, but they do it in stages: phase 1, phase 2, phase 3. It's not like like other countries that are saying we have a vaccine
like
and they haven't done any trials on anybody. So those are things that you have to worry about. But I mean, the entire world, I think, is trying to come up with something. And but you can only trust the scientific proven trials and guidelines that exist on developed countries like Canada, United States, and most of the countries in Europe, that they can actually follow the rules and come out with something that is safe.
That's good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I appreciate you coming on, Oscar. I'm so glad that other people will be able to hear your story and share, because you've always been an inspiration, and your story's been inspirational to me, and hearing what you've been through and stuff, and I'm glad you could share it with others.
Oh, it's a pleasure.
Definitely got to come back on. We got to tell some airplane stories.
Oh, absolutely.
Like when you come back there, and we'll do it again.
Absolutely. It's a pleasure.
Awesome.
Pleasure.
Thank you, buddy.
It's nice
Oscar Romero, say hi to him when you see him.
Thank
All right.
you.
Well, we're out.
Thanks.